Hi, this is Jennifer Dono, and you're watching Young Female Entrepreneurs Live, a live streaming show with a corresponding chat that happens every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern over at ovali.tv/live. It's part of youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com, which is an online community for entrepreneurial women in their 20s and 30s. We do online events like this live stream, Twitter chats, meetups online using web conferencing, and there's a book club in real life meetups. So yeah, we're pretty busy over here and we're keeping it fun. So tonight's episode is all about headlines affecting young female entrepreneurs, and we're going to be keeping it shorter, hopefully to 20 minutes if I can do it. Because we don't have a guest, but I am trying to take in Skype call-ins. So this is the second time that I'm really actually inviting you to Skype in. Here you can see in the lower third, it has it at the bottom. The username for Skype is YFE call-in. Now this is going to be open on every show from now on. So this is like a training episode saying, call in and voice your opinion, share information about your business, introduce other young female entrepreneurs to you and your brand. So I'm actually going to go ahead and close off the lines for just the next 5 minutes or so. So if you add me as a contact, it's going to be do not disturb. But from now on, in the next 5 minutes, you're able to call in for the rest of the night. Voice your opinions, share information about your business. And so again, I mentioned this on the chat, but you don't have to actually be on video. You can just be on through the audio. We're more than happy to just listen to you. I know that that's a thing for a lot of young female entrepreneurs. You don't have your makeup on at the end of the day, that kind of thing. I get it. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about a little bit about what we're going to be going over, and then we're going to break for some sponsorship messages. But the first thing is Inc.'s 30 Under 30. We're going to be talking about that. You could see that in the TV behind me. So we're going to be discussing some of the cool businesses that are listed on there. And then I'm asking you a few questions like, would you be interested in being in this list? Is that one of your objectives, one of your big goals that you want to get towards or work towards? And then the second one that we're going to be talking about is the why women still can't have it all in the Atlantic article. And you guys, I know that article is a couple weeks old now, but I wanted to make sure that we did cover it in a headline show. The headline shows we do once every month or so, and so there's no guests. We're just taking in the visitors, people that are viewing the show live to voice their opinions and hear more about their business, that type of a thing. So anyway, before we move on, I want to go ahead and thank Ovali, who sponsors Young Female Entrepreneurs live stream, where we empower your home office lifestyle through web hosting, cloud services, and domain names. Visit ovali.com to buy your domain name today. And by audible.com, get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/ovali. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. So, by the way, Ovali, where you're at right now, ovali.tv, is why I'm a young female entrepreneur. And so that's why we're under this network and we're working forward from the Ovali name. Very excited about that. But before we go on to the two articles that I mentioned, I wanted to bring you up to speed on what's happening at Young Female Entrepreneurs. So the first thing is the book club. Jessica Newell, Jay Newell, she's on the chat right now. She's actually one of our moderators along with Morgan Hatton, and they're doing this awesome book that's all about getting your ideas on paper and into action. So making sure that the creativity process it doesn't stop at the thinking, but it actually gets done at the end. And Jessica's been coming up with some awesome prompts that she's been doing the last couple weeks, and she has another one coming out tomorrow. The book club is all happening under Facebook, private Facebook group. So it's a lot about a lot of what we do here at YFE is about just making the meetups and that happening, the getting together in an area that you're already at. So whether it's on Facebook or Twitter, if you have other suggestions, let us know. But it's all about getting you to meet each other where you already are. So Facebook is one of them, and that's where we do the Facebook book club group. And so Jessica, like I said, there's a prompt coming out tomorrow. Many thanks to Jessica and Morgan. They're doing an awesome job, and there's a lot of great discussion that's happening over there. To join, go to youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com. There's links all over the places for the book club, the private Facebook group, so you can get in there. All you have to do is request to be in. Jessica will look at you to make sure you're a young female entrepreneur, and then you'll be in. and you can go ahead and get started. Make sure that you, of course, introduce yourself when you come in too. That's always nice, so we know who's joining. The next thing is the in real life meetups with the young female entrepreneurs in Los Angeles. So Erin of Well in LA is a YFE ambassador down south, and she's one of the first ones. And this meetup is crazy. She's a smart businesswoman, so she put up this meetup where she just invited people that had gone to the last YFE meetup, and it's pretty much sold out of those tickets, and now it's moving on to opening it up to every young female entrepreneur in the LA area. And I've been seeing Eventbrite, because she's doing the tickets through Eventbrite, they're tweeting her. I mean, it's just picking up really fast, and you're all very lucky to meet Erin. She's very positive, very cool, just a smart girl, and who knows a lot of different people, a lot of different brands in the Los Angeles area. So to go to that, if you're in the Los Angeles area, go to youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com and click on the IRL meetup up at the top navigation, in real life meetup, and then find out more by going over to the Eventbrite site. And of course, make sure that you follow Erin on Twitter and that you like her page over on the on Facebook. All right, so we talked about the book club, we talked about in real life meetings. The next one that I wanted to just briefly discuss is the Twitter chats that I'm trying to put together a schedule for. We tested out some late night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern in June. We tested out a couple of those, and we tested out a couple Monday mornings. And I want to make sure that I switch it up, because I know a lot of you have different varying schedules that they vary, from day to day, but then there's also some of you can do mornings and you can never do evenings, that kind of thing. So I try and change them up. To find out more information about our Twitter chats, go to youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com, but we meet every 2 weeks on Twitter under the hashtag YFE chat. So if you don't have a Twitter username, make sure that you get that as soon as possible. It's just silly, I think, not to, as a young female entrepreneur, and some of you can tell me if I'm being silly or not in the chat, but I think it's a good idea. So anyway, moving on. Just a couple more pieces, and then we'll get into the article, I promise. So Erica Zidell of sittingaround.com, if you missed last week's live stream, she's up on YouTube, I believe, now, and my goal is to get everything up on iTunes and to get a nice RSS feed going, but in just a second, I'll show you why that's taking a little bit longer than it should. So Erica, she gave a lot of great information. Like I said, it's on the YFE YouTube channel. Make sure that you subscribe over there and like the video and comment and all that fun stuff. Erica did a fantastic job, and she talked about the benefits of being in an incubator. She talked about Boston versus Seattle. She talked about being a mom, having a co-founder that was an ex-boyfriend, that's the father of her son, and a tech startup. She brought in Square Reader and is doing a lot of really innovative things as far as providing it to babysitters. So all of that is super cool. Now, as far as next week's YFE TV goes, that one is really exciting because, like I said earlier, I'm a young female entrepreneur because I'm an owner of Ovalite. I own Ovalite along with my parents, and so I come at this topic from a biased position in that I work with my parents, but next week's topic is parents. So not only is it in starting a business with your parents, but also what if your parents don't approve of your startup dreams or don't agree with what you're doing as far as entrepreneurship? We're going to be looking at it from that angle. And we're also going to be looking at it from the angle of what happens when you become a parent. So parents episode, 3 different areas. Our featured guest is Ashley Bodie. I think it's Bodhi. She's super fun. I've met with her a couple times over Google Hangout. She's got a lot of personality, and she owns Business Beware along with her family. She's been in the family business for the last, growing up, it was an entrepreneurial family. So she's going to be coming at it from that perspective. And in the meantime, so what I'm asking of all of you, that if you're watching this video and you have some form of opinion on parents, so whether or not you are a parent yourself, if your parents don't approve of what you're doing, maybe your parents have been a great support for you, or if you are in business with your parent, I'd love to have a short 1-minute video about you and your business and your experience with parents. So to get that over to me, what we're having you do is upload the video onto Dropbox and send me a link where I can download it, and you can quickly take it off of your Dropbox to free up that space. So I'll have all of the instructions over on youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com tomorrow on how to do that again. But big thing is just to get all of our experiences together, and we can talk about some solutions and different ways to work through the issue of parenting. So again, that's next Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern at overlay.tv/live. Ashley's going to be on, and I mean, you could ask her probably 100 different questions. Her business is all about the opposite of Angie's List. So Angie's List helps the consumer. Business Beware helps the business, making sure that the business is protected from the consumer. So it's a pretty cool concept. And make sure that you add it to your calendar. If you go to overlay.tv and check out the upcoming episodes, you can click on over and do that. So I just want to remind everyone, if you're just tuning in live now, I'm Jennifer Dono with YoungFemaleEntrepreneurs.com, and this episode of Young Female Entrepreneurs Live is all about headlines. We're talking about 2 headlines specifically. I'm trying to keep it a shorter episode. I am on the chat, and I'll be taking Skype call-ins tonight. Our username is YFE Call-in to talk with me, and you'll be you'll be going through the internet lines and broadcasting your opinion and your business information out to whoever's watching. So if you are on chat, make sure that you go ahead and Skype in with your opinion and information about your business in just a couple minutes. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about, I'm going to go ahead and go online for my Skype user. So if you guys are on Skype, the Skype username is YFE Colin. Now, okay, a couple of things. So if you look at it, there's different branding for YFE. I don't know if I can pull this up. I have it on, if you look at the image, I added an image, yeah. So this is a big debut of the YFE new branding. I thought I'd do it for this show. So Shanda of Pixel Soup, she's been with Young Female Entrepreneurs, been part of the group for a couple years now, and she did the branding for us. She did a fantastic job, and so hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have a new site going, and we'll have everything up on RSS feed, and the show will be decked out in the new branding too. We'll have new lower thirds and new transitions and titles and all that fun stuff. So, headlines. Let's talk about them. So we've got 2 that we're talking about. The first one that we're going to get started with is more of a loaded subject. It's The Atlantic's Why Women Still Can't Have It All. And I know this isn't a newer headline. However, it's new since the last time we did a headlines show. So I wanted to make sure that we brought it up. So just to go over it quickly in case you haven't looked at it, and it's if you're watching it live, if you do a search for Why Women Still Can't Have It All, or The Atlantic Women Can't Have It All, something like that, or the author's name is Anne Marie Slaughter, you'll be able to pull up the article. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll make sure that I have it underneath the video in the comments, and anywhere else I'll have the link onto it. So Anne Marie Slaughter is the author of this article, and the whole subject matter really is that she went from being kind of, I think she was, she had tenure at a university, and she had the flexibility of her own schedule, and then she went and got basically a job, a job, working very high up, as she was saying here. She was in the first woman director of policy planning at the State Department, a foreign policy dream job that traces its origins back to George Kennan. I found myself in New York at the United Nations Annual, and so it went on to talk about kind of what her lifestyle was like at this new job where she had never really had to have the 9-to-5 answer to someone type of a lifestyle. Not to say that her schedule is 9-to-5 at all, but that was kind of the premise where she laid the ground as far as that goes, and I think that's a big piece that young female entrepreneurs are missing in this. So make sure that if you're in the chat, go ahead and chat in and share your opinion, or if you have questions about the article so we can all discuss it. And again, the Skype call-in line will make sure that we have that on the lower third as we go. But Anne Marie Slaughter, she goes on, and there's a great, if you scroll down in the article, if you're looking at it online, there's a great video by her that I thought gave a nice summary. She was there. I can pull it up behind us. I don't know if I want to actually play the video. But she was saying that we appreciate that the previous generation... Yeah, I won't play that. We appreciate that the previous generation made the sacrifices, such as, not having their kids in daycare or fighting for our rights, making it so that women could be more independent, that type of a thing. But if we have to choose career over spending time with children, sorry, we're going to go ahead and choose being with our kids. So the more stereotypical 1950s idea of what a woman is, right? So that's kind of the gist of the article, I guess you could say. And then she goes on to saying that rather than looking down upon that as saying that's a woman is backpedaling from the feminist movement, that it's more saying it's a valid choice, saying that it's okay. It's okay if you want to spend time with your kids versus going to work 9 to 5. So, with that said, she said, I want to work. This is Anne-Marie Slaughter, who wrote this article. It's something like 7 pages online. It's a very loaded article, and if you haven't read it yet, make sure that you actually take piece by piece before you go ahead and form an opinion. But she said, I want to work, but I want to work in a way that allows me to be home much more than a high-level government job will let me do right now. So as young female entrepreneurs, there's a lot of people going out on Facebook and on Twitter saying, you know, what do you think about this? This is my opinion. There's been a lot of rebuttal articles and a lot of different perspectives on the whole thing. But I think one of the important pieces here is that she's coming at it from the perspective of that she was on someone else's schedule. She was answering to someone else finally and realized this isn't the way that I want to live. So in this video that she's talking about that I have on the back here over on theatlantic.com under this article, yes, thank you so much. Someone on chat just added the link. Awesome. So in the video, she says that she wants employers to think of mothers as marathon runners. And I thought that was an interesting anecdote there, in that runners get up early, they're very disciplined, they have to eat differently, they have to think differently, and employers look at them as athletes. Whereas a woman who's a mother has a very similar type of a lifestyle where they get up early to answer emails, they have to work harder to make sure that their kids are prepared, they have to organize the household, that type of a thing. So she's looking at it from that perspective. What? Oh, yeah, sorry, that's Anne-Marie Slaughter. So she's the author of this article, and she's the one that had went from having a very flexible lifestyle as a professor and being able to make more of her own schedule going into this very high-level government job, a very prestigious one at that. And I think when she left, she must have turned a lot of heads and made a big, I don't want to say a big scene, but definitely people noticed that she left. If this is something that, I mean, I'm sure many people strive to work under. But she wants employers to think of mothers, so we were just talking about that, as marathon runners, but also to make it possible for women to make it the work-life balance, so the work and family and all of that stuff. She wants employers to make it possible for women to have a balance in the way that they want to. I don't know if I made that a whole lot of sense, but this is in my notes. So rather than saying this is how work-life balance is going to be, that employers give it up to the mother or to the woman and say, how is it that's going to make your life easier? That way you don't lose a tremendous amount of talent, is what she's saying. Because if you don't, then a woman is going to choose their child over their career and over, you know, moving your company forward. And I thought that was an interesting perspective for young female entrepreneurs specifically, because while we could go into the idea of, okay, can we be a young female entrepreneur? Can we build businesses while having kids? I think it's a more interesting one for us to look at it as employers. You know, how are we building our companies, and how are we creating work environments that foster work-life balance, I guess. That's the perspective that I wanted to bring into it. So, if you are on the chat and watching live, I'd welcome you to Skype in now. My Skype username is YFE call in for this specific night. So make sure that you call in. I'd love to hear your opinion on the whole article. You don't have to come at it from the question that I have as far as how are we building our companies and our work environments to help women have more flexible hours, more flexible work environments, that type of thing that help them be with their kids more if that's what they want. If you don't want to have kids and you want to build a business, that's a whole other subject. Another thing that I thought was cool, and again, feel free to Skype in and interrupt me at any time. This has been a fun experiment that we've had over at Oval Eye TV with young female entrepreneurs as a Skype call-in thing. And we've had one Skype call-in to date with Jessica Newell, the book moderator. And so things are going better. One is more than none, right? Again, you don't have to be on video if you Skype in. So, what? Yeah, but definitely call in. Yeah. You don't have to be on video, just call in. So another thing that's happening, I can pull up on the same line, is Entrepreneur is running a a video series that's kind of cool. It was in a co-working space. Let me see if I can find it quickly on entrepreneur.com, just in the same light. As I wait for people to voice their opinions on the Atlantic article. I know it's a very loaded one, and it might not be something you want to comment on, so I get it, and we'll move on to Inc. 30 under 30 in just a few minutes. But entrepreneur.com is running a series, and it was in a co-working space. It was very interesting. Here it is, Project Grow. And there was an article in the same light on juggling a startup and a baby. It's not an article, it's a video. It's part of this series. And it's in the co-working space, A Good Company in New York. And they were speaking with one of the members of the co-working space, a wedding dress designer named Angela Broyles. And she's juggling a startup and her baby. And the whole video shows her and her baby on the floor and working and being with her assistants. And it's interesting because she gave some really strict, straight to the point, helpful tips for mothers or women that are interested in starting a company while starting a family. And I thought that was a great article to look at, or a great video. I'm sorry, I keep saying article, but a great video to look at. In the same respect, there was another video that was done, I believe, last week, and the title was Techie Networking for Women. And so same video series by Entrepreneur, and by Project Grow. And this is another member of this co-working space, and she was arguing, Amy Yazian of I'm in the Kitchen. She is arguing that there's not enough women when you go to a tech networking event, and it becomes intimidating and hard for a woman to get what she needs out of those events. So she started tech networking events for women in the New York City area. And so that was another interesting place to look at if you want more information about women and growing businesses. There's a couple people that are chatting in. Can't call in, hoping I can send this to speak about the question, what do you think we can do with our youth to further promote powerful female careers at a young age? That's a good question. If you have an answer for it, Skype in. Or chat in, either way. But no, what can we do with, so again, the question is, what can we do with our youth to further promote powerful female careers at a young age? So are you saying that as a young person, how we can encourage them to go after or to keep growing and keep progressing? Yeah. An example? Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. Being a good example is definitely one answer to that. Being a role model, if you are in a position of a higher, executive level, or even a business owner, definitely making sure that you're available to the college age, even younger crowd, and showing them. And I believe that they're even arguing that we should start in middle school. I don't know if you're familiar with Young Entrepreneur Council, or the YEC, the Young Entrepreneurs Council, right? They have Fix Young America, and it's a very interesting campaign that they've done. They've done a lot of research behind it, and I believe that they're putting out a report, and it's arguing that we do more within our education system to encourage people to start businesses. So the youngest that we have in YFE is, well, in Young Female Entrepreneurs is a community that's not a membership-based community. People come and go all the time. But we do have a 15-year-old that I've talked about before that's pretty involved, Tori of My Utoria. It's a great company to look at. But her mom is very much I think she's very influential within her life. She's part of her business. She makes sure that I don't want to say that she's running the show, but she's definitely a great role model for Tori. And I don't want to speak for Tori and why she's able to start her business, but that's something that's definitely recognizable. And yeah, so we're having in the chat, one of our chatters says, I remember saying I want to be a housewife when I grow up, and I'm only 30. So yeah, no, I understand. And if you look at what your parents are like, next week we have the parents episode, so make sure that you tune in for that. It's going to be an interesting conversation of looking at maybe what your parents' ideal for you was as growing up, maybe what they actually did when you were growing up, that type of a thing. So it'll be interesting to be talking about. So yeah, mentorship is a big deal, Jessica. That's a great point. Having mentorship when you were in your high school age, early 20s, college age. Now that you're getting closer to 30, it is harder to convince someone to be a mentor for you when you're not a kid, I guess. But yeah, having great role models is one thing. Yeah, and then Jules of Kickstarter Kitchen, Jules? Kickstarter Kitchen? I know, Jules, you should call in. Nurturing a Baby and a Startup. Yes, I love that article, Jules. Fantastic one. Talks about how women are building businesses. And it's interesting, at the very beginning of the article, I believe, she was saying something about the author, that a lot of women that are starting businesses and are having kids at the same time are in their late 30s, and they have the means to hire help, or to hire help within their business and do things a little differently versus being in your younger 20s, early 30s type of an age where you don't necessarily have the means to have that help to start your business. And in that video that I mentioned under entrepreneur.com, she does talk about a few ways to get help affordably. So hiring marketing interns and different things like that is some of the things that she suggests. So yeah, Jules, it is a much more positive spin. You're right. I have to agree with that. She's talking about the New York Times article on juggling a startup and a baby. So let's go ahead. If you guys don't have anything to Skype in for to bring your opinion forward on the Atlantic article, I'm going to go ahead and move into the 30 under 30 headline. And this is one that I always wait for. So the author behind this, or the reporter, I guess the journalist behind 30 under 30 for the last couple of years, I don't want to say the last couple of years, I'm sure it's much longer than that, is Donna Fenn. And I always love everything she puts out. And she writes primarily towards our generation, so the young entrepreneur, for Inc. And that's Inc.com, of course. And this year's list is 30 under 30. And it's the 30 coolest entrepreneurs under 30 is what they're saying. And in the past, I was trying to remember who really stood out to me. And there's been like mobile grocery store owner. I remember of course, her campus was on, and I think that was even last year that those two were on it. Yeah, and they were talking about the alumni of this list. You can see below here the 30 under 30 alumni, and they had Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg I think it was in like 2008. I want to say that they had him on the list, 2006. And they had a couple other updates as far as people that were growing. The shirt founded by Rochelle Behrens in 2011, so that was last year's 30 under 30 list. She grew it from just a single shirt, and it was a special kind of technology that allowed something with cleavage. I forget exactly what it was, but you guys can chat in if you remember what I'm talking about. But she grew that from a single shirt into a 150-piece clothing collection. And so that's a really cool article where they kind of go forward, or they go back and look at what people have done in the past for this list. So anyway, it's 30 under 30. 30 people that are entrepreneurs that are doing really cool things, like they were saying, and it goes under different categories. So the first one is social media. There's education, apps, hot products, health, business services, social entrepreneurs. Now, just as a fun little guessing game, if you're on the live chat, how many of those 30 businesses do you think had women founders in them? Original founders. Or I guess original founders is an oxymoron. So, actually, looking through it, and I could be incorrect, because I looked at a lot of different reportings on this list, and I didn't see one that really documented how many were female founders. But just from looking through it, it looked like, and again, I could totally be wrong. I'll make sure that I update this if I'm wrong. 7 out of 30 companies. Yeah, Jessica's guessing 5. 29. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, 7 out of 30 companies had female founders. And in the past, it's been pretty balanced, I feel like. I've never thought, oh, wow, that's a lot of dudes in the picture. But this year, for whatever reason, I thought, wow, there's a lot of dudes in those pictures. Yeah, so you can see the little circles behind me. If you just look through it, this product or this category, I don't know which one that's showing, it's probably the products category, had more females on it. But the apps category was all dudes, I'm pretty sure. Oh, one female founder was in there. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at who some of these, why some of these people were chosen. And again, I'm on the chat, and we're finishing up with our second headline before we go ahead and close it up. And I still am on the Skype line, so if you want to call in and voice your opinion on the 30 under 30 list, my username is YFE Colin. Yeah, definitely. Please call in. I don't want to beg, but at the same time, it would be really great. The 7 out of 30 female founders was an interesting thing. And then also looking at why people were chosen, because this is a fun list that I always look at. It's kind of like the Oscars list for me. I don't know. I just get excited about it. And what they're saying is that they, out of all of the people that they've chose, I'm sure they get thousands and thousands of applications, but the staff actually drilled it down into 120 applicants to start off with. And they were looking for problem solvers. I guess these are the people that they ended up having, though, really. When they looked back at it, these are the people that they ended up being deemed coolest. Problem solvers, they are creating jobs. They manufacture in the U.S. They're young, but 70% of the people that are in the 30 under 30 list are actually older than 27. None are younger than 25. And they also have very innovative mobile apps. And the author, I believe it was Donna Fenn that was saying this, they could have put together a whole 30 under 30s list of just mobile apps. People that were doing really innovative and cool things with just mobile. But they didn't. And so I think there's 6 of them that are the mobile apps. So looking at it, when they look back, or when they were choosing these people, like I said, the staff narrowed it down to 120 companies. Then they went ahead and looked at these 11 judges. And if you look at the judges, they're very cool people. So methodology and meet the judges. This is all under Inc.com. Okay. Yeah, so there's a couple of comments like 5 or 6 people. 7 is a good start. 7, though, like I said in the past, it's been pretty, and I don't want them to make I don't know about you guys, but I don't want them to make their decision based off of whether they're a male or female. And I don't want them to have to think. And I realize that a lot of this is editorialized so that, they look at someone and they think, okay, what's the pitch? What's going to make people excited about this? What's going to make people talk about it? So, of course, that goes into it. And so that you want to make something that's more, gender neutral, I guess, or more, 50-50. But at the same time, like I said, I don't want that. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want that to be something that everything is based off of, is gender. Yeah, I'm gonna go through really fast just a couple things before I go through the people. So they said in choosing these, so after they went down, there's 11 judges. As you can see, it ranges in age from the judges, it ranges in sex from the judges, it ranges in experience. Scott Gerber, who was talking about the Young Entrepreneur Council just a couple seconds ago, he's a founder, or co-founder of it now, I guess. He was one of the judges. There's past alumni members of the list. Also Eric Ries of the Lean Startup, who's a book that we finished not too long ago. He's on it. VCs, all sorts of fun list of people that was on the judges panel. So these judges got the 120 applicants, and then they narrowed it down to half, and then they pulled it together again and narrowed it down to half again, and you got the 30 under 30. And they sought to, and this is a quote from Inc., "We sought to identify the entrepreneurs of the future, the ones already making a big impact in their communities, manufacturing innovative products, or disrupting traditional industries." So with that in mind, what my question to you is, knowing the list, looking through who was chosen for the list and how they chose the list, does this affect how you build your business? Does it inspire you in any way? Motivate you to work harder, try new things? So Skype in. I'll be on the Skype in line for a couple more minutes. I'd love to get your opinion on the list. If this is something you're striving for in your own business, is to get onto lists like this, I'd love to hear about it. So let's look at a couple of them. So if we pull up the first image, here you can see this is Allison Lamai Sawyer. Goodness gracious, I hope I pronounced her name correctly. And she's one of the females. I believe it's in photography that she's on there, and I could be totally wrong, so I need to pull this up just to make sure. If you go to Inc. 30, it's inc.com/30 under 30 is where all of these are, and of course it's just the number, not spelled out. So let's go ahead and open this up and look through them. We'll go to the next one in the meantime. Okay, so this is one that I do recognize, Schoolhouse. I actually heard about her last year from someone that I met in Washington, D.C., and she's doing some really interesting things as far as manufacturing collegiate apparel goes. I've known a couple, and I've interviewed one other collegiate apparel manufacturer in the last year. And this one was just doing something differently in that she was manufacturing in Sri Lanka. She did a lot of work as far as getting wages to be improved over there. And then she brought everything over to the U.S. And so there's some really interesting backstory as far as that goes. So make sure that you check that out. Another interesting one is this one behind me. The freight lines, I think it's Fabulous. Goodness gracious, what's his company called? Fabulous Coach Lines. It's funny because I was watching a live stream in the White House where they were talking about the future of young entrepreneurs probably a year ago or so. It was right when the Inc. 30 Under 30 list came out last year, maybe a little bit afterwards. And he was there and he asked a question and he talked about his company. I remember thinking, how unique is that? Because he was under 30 and he was talking about how he owned these coach lines. And again, it's a dude, so I'm getting a little off topic. But I just thought that was really, I mean, you think of, I guess, older men doing companies like this, but he was succeeding at it, and he wanted to bring people from, he wanted to bring international tourism into, I believe it was Florida, is what he was talking about, and how the government was going to help him as far as tourism goes. So a lot of really cool stuff that's happening over there. Another one is this University Parent Media, and I believe I've heard of her through the YEC, and she's pulling together, it's a media company, an online media company that creates content that brings in parents, local businesses, and the colleges to try and make life easier for everyone that's involved in the whole system. Oh, that's an interesting question, Jules. So one of the, you can see it here, I think it's called Teaks. How Jules is asking how they're different from city slips. That's a good question, and I haven't read through it enough. But the concept is that you roll up the little shoes into your purse, and you can stow them away and go ahead and go. So I don't know enough about that company to be able to comment on it. But if someone else in the chat does, it would be great to hear. I know there's a lot of shoes like that, a lot of shoes like that. But it goes back into why it is that you created the company and what differentiates you in that way. And I thought City Slips is an interesting case study because if you look at it, yeah, they're the same as a lot of companies out there, but they looked at the problem and just made a small change in that you had these shoes and they came in their own little pouch, right, that you stowed away, and then when you took your heels off and you put them in your purse, you were able to take the shoes out of their pouch and slip them on your feet. Well, then what did you do with your heels, right? You could be having a smaller purse and then all of a sudden have this big bulk of the heels, so they created a cute tote bag that rolled out with the pouch. So I thought that was an interesting thing. Anyway, I got off topic a little bit. Sorry. Yeah, and Jessica and Catman Gan, did I pronounce your name right? Your username, you're both talking about regardless of age, it's good to hear stories of success. Absolutely. I cannot agree with you more. It's exciting to hear people that are doing new, innovative things that are just, they're making money, doing what they love, and helping people. So another one, as you can see here, was Give Forward, Desiree Vargas Wrigley, and it's all about helping people raise money for crushing medical expenses, and it's kind of like the crowdfunding that's happening now, slowly happening now for entrepreneurship, but it's happening here for medical expenses. So that's an interesting one to look at too. Now, let's see if I can pull up any other young female entrepreneurs. Yeah. So someone in the chat is saying the difference between City Slips and Teaks, better branding. Oops. No, definitely won't say that you told them that, or you said that. But yeah, no, just looking at seeing how the product is different would be interesting. And then also, I think it was two men, right, that were the founders of that company, and it was for women. And then you've got the other two young females that I believe are under the age of 25. With City Slips. So I wonder if that was an editorial thing or if they really are doing something different. Maybe it was, they were saying that the companies that were chosen were also predisposed to disclose revenue, which is something that you had an option of doing. Big Easy Blends was an interesting one. I met one of the founders in Washington, D.C., and he their company. It was fun to hear because there's tons and tons of people that do these big easy blends, and it's funny. Or I don't want to say their company. Big, you know, the margarita type thing in the pouch, so it's not in the glass and you can take it with you like out to the beach or something like that. But it's interesting that they get all of this press because they're young, they're different, they're under 30, and so I'm sure their market is the under 30 market too, and so they're able to be exposed in that way. Really interesting. Okay, so here's the Rebellion Photonics. Her story was an interesting one. You guys should definitely look at that because it was all about, at the very beginning, it talked about how one of her professors, when she was getting her MBA, said, you know, you're not going to succeed as a CEO. You need to hire outside for a CEO. Yeah, he said, let's see if I can pull this up. It's on the mobile, so it doesn't go great. But you know you aren't good enough, right? You know, to be a real CEO. That would definitely not make me happy. It'd make me work harder. I don't know about you guys, but having someone tell me I can't do it would always make me work harder. So anyway, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I would ask the question. You guys can feel free to comment by Skyping in quickly or adding it in the comments, chatting over there, or YouTube video, wherever it is that you're watching this video. What does the 30 under 30 list do for you as a young entrepreneur? Does it excite you? Does it motivate you? Does it give you new ideas? Is it something that you want to be on? What does it mean for you? So again, comment on both of those articles that we talked about in the headline issue. Everyone that is on the chat, thank you so much for showing up. I know no one called in for the Skype in line, but try and do it next week with Ashley Bodie, and we're going to be, and I talked about sharing the videos. Make sure that you do that, and like I said, I will have all of the information up over at youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com tomorrow on how to add the video up to Dropbox and send it over to me. My email is jen@youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com, and I'll be taking in all of those videos. Next episode is next Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, here at overlay.tv/live, and it's all about parents. It's going to be an awesome one. Ashley's such a fun guest, and until then, make sure that you follow us over on Facebook at facebook.com/youngfemaleentrepreneurs and on Twitter at YF Entrepreneur. Thank you again for showing up and for watching this video. Have a great week.